It's me, I'm back with another replay, and today we have Maximum and DKSWLA. Now DKSWLA is some unknown person, so we're gonna be referring to him as Bob. Hello Bob, I am RJB for RJB TV, and this is a Protoss vs Terran Bob against Maximum. Maximum here on the Terran. And a little fun fact here is Maximum is the player called SCV, aka Leebokgu. And yeah, I still don't know who DKS is. We're just gonna have to wait and see how this game develops, if there's gonna be a good one. There's gonna be a best of series. I'm not sure what the amount is, but we're just going in, we're just diving in, and we're gonna see how this is gonna play out. We'll speed the first 2 minutes, of course, and not much can be said about their starting build order. Maximum, or Leebokgu, going for the usual stuff, and his opponent DKS is going for unusual stuff. This is highly unusual, something we almost never see within the Korean Starcraft scene, and you will probably see why you never see this opening as a Protoss. This is 4 gateways coming out there for DKS, Bob, I mean, 4 gateways for Bob coming out. Bob knows where Leebokgu is located. Leebokgu is chasing around that probe at the moment, not yet going for the scout, although now he's turning tail, changing direction. Back to days, it appears, because no, he's not going back. Yes, he is. He's trying to trick me, I think. Right, so now he's going for a scout. He'll find his opponent right away, and he also see those 2 zealots, so he'll probably turn that marine back around, send it back home, and stack up his marines, because he is going to have to defend himself really, really hard. So we've got a lot of zealots on the way. 4 of them queued up at the moment, all of them at the same time, so we're going to be arriving there at the same time as well. But these 2 initial zealots here are not going to achieve much, because they're running away, because there's too many marines for them to fight into. 7 marines in total, but soon it will be 9 marines against 6 zealots. So smart move from Bob to keep his zealots there alive. Leebokgu, though, is keeping his marines there in the entrance, balling them up. He's running away now, though. He knows it's coming. We've got 2 gas coming in there from Bob. Very quickly looking at it, 2 gas there, and a cyber core there on the way as well for Bob. The fight is going to commence here. There's now 12 marines against 6 zealots. The marker there coming in from Leebokgu, but Leebokgu is forced to retreat because Bob is getting pretty good damage in there on those marines. Now he's going to get us around the marines, but the marines are... Ooh, that SCV there coming in. It looks like Leebokgu is going to win this fight here. The fight is won very quickly and without much loss there for Leebokgu. So Leebokgu now definitely has the overhand over Bob in this game, because Bob losing a lot of zealots there with a 4 gateway build order means he's going to get overrun by Leebokgu once Leebokgu gets that academy up and running. But at the moment he has no academy yet, no gas yet. He's starting the refinery there though, almost finished up. He's going for extra command center there as well. Academy has been started, and it looks like Leebokgu is gonna face pretty much nothing for now. Nothing serious, at least. He could have had a window to go for a counter attack there on Bob if he had that academy up and running quicker, but he never got into Bob's base. He doesn't know what Bob has. But I think it is safe to assume that Bob has 4 gateways, because otherwise he wouldn't have that many zealots out that early. I think Leebokgu could deduce that much. Fight once again happening, but this is honestly way too many marines for those zealots to fight into. He's going to get a lot of marine skills there though, but the zealots will ultimately die. But I think the purpose at the moment is mostly just keeping Leebokgu inside of his base and reducing the number of marines that he has. More zealots are on the way. We have a Citadel of Adun finished for Bob, and that is in fact a forge. So he's going for zealot speed. No Dark Templars, no weapon upgrade, no Dragoons, just going for zealot speed. Right after going for zealots, this is very, very, extremely highly unusual. He did add on another gateway, so he has 5 gateways there in total for mass zealot production. But because Leebokgu has the academy there on the way, he can make medics and probably make fire bats as well. He's already adding on more barracks because he knows he'll need more barracks to fight into that gateway mass. So the game is, I think, like just by predictive ability, oh wait, actually he's getting a lot of marine kills there because there's still no medic, still no stim upgrade. And the Zealot count is actually doing a lot of work here. If he had that stim upgrade finished already, or had medics out already, that fight would have gone into Maximum's favor by a huge margin. But now, Leebokgu is actually in a pretty bad spot. Just to wait for fire bats, but he's got no fire bats in the queue. He does have stim upgrade finished. Range is also on the way, but that's a lot of Zealots. And this is looking very bad for Leebokgu out of nowhere. Usually I always say that a 4 gateway build is destined to fail, but here it is getting some results. Because Leebokgu put himself in a pretty hard position to micro with all those barracks against the behind those Marines, blocking the Marines from microing away, letting those Zealots to get on top of those Marines and killing a lot of them. And now the speed is finished as well, and the game is just starting to look even grimmer than it did before for Leebokgu. Firebats are out now though, they're on the way. Dark Templars are on the way though for Bob, and Bob also has Singularity Charge on the way, so we'll be seeing a switch into Dragoons very soon as well. The factory there has finished though for Leebokgu, so Dragoons are no longer as good of an option as they were if that factory had not finished yet. Looks like Leebokgu managed to survive the waves. Stairgate and the Firebats have definitely helped, and range will help even more. Siege mode is on the way, Siege Tank's on the way as well, and he's making a starport there in the bottom corner below his factory too. So he's still on track. Their worker counts are somewhat the same, 33 against 34, more Firebats have spawned. Dark Temples are coming in though, he does have a scan there in the back. Dark Templars are going to run in, and he doesn't notice because he's not scanning. He scans eventually and finds the Dark Templars there, and he kills all those Zealots so easily with those Firebats. The Firebats are 100% a game changer. But even though Leebokgu was looking at a pretty bad situation, he comes out on top and defends that one pretty handily. The Dark Templars are trying to get in, but they won't really achieve much. So now, because Leebokgu does not have a vessel or a lot of scans available, he's forced to sit in his base and wait. Because those Dark Templars there can keep Leebokgu contained, which should give Bob a lot of room to recover from that failed aggression in the early game. Because failed aggression in the early game, with pretty much an all-in build order, means that your economy is smaller than it should be at this time into the game, as opposed to his opponent, who is on 41 SCVs against 41 probes. You always want to be ahead in probe count as the Protoss over the Terran up until at least 10 minutes, because you are in the position where you have to be the aggressor, and being the aggressor is more expensive than being the defender. He tries to go in, but nah, he sees he can't. He just sees he can't. That depot wall there is far too potent to let him through. He does have that storm upgrade finished up. He's got that shuttle there as well. More robos are on the way. He doesn't have speed upgrade for shuttles yet, but it is being researched. He also has a starport on the way to help guide his shuttle drops into Leebokgu's base. The storm drop there is finished. He's going to fly in, maybe he's going to wait for that upgrade on the shuttle speed. Maybe he's going to wait for more shuttles, so it's harder to snipe that one shuttle as it flies in. He's going to put it into position though. So putting in position. Marines are already there in between. Scan comes out for Leebokgu. I'm too slow. He scouted the top side there. He scouted the Nexus. He finds a way in. Bob finds a way in, but there's a turret there in between. Marines as well. Marines are responding. The shuttle is too slow. Gets chased down, but it escapes over the hill. And for some reason, this one single Zealot is killing that depot all by itself. One Zealot there going to kill the turret there, so that's also something. It's nice. Oh! Tank drop, tank drop, tank drop! Tank drop gets a shot, but it kills only 4 probes. Very unlucky shot there for Leebokgu, but at least it disrupts the mining a little while for Bob. But only 4 is kind of miserable. You would have, of course, wished for more, but more wasn't in the cards. So 2 more factories there coming up for Leebokgu. He's going to start filling out his base now because he's pretty confident and comfortable with his SCV count. His economy is in a pretty good spot. His income is pretty nice. Dragoons are coming in through the front. He wants to pull off a frontal attack there, but he doesn't have well, he has Dragoon range. Does he not? He has Dragoon range, it appears, but the Dragoons are not going to achieve much because there's tanks behind the depots, but a drop comes in there at the same time as well. There's no Marines in between this time around. He's going to try to snipe the shuttle, but a Templar comes out. Another Templar comes out there as well, and he actually storms all the SCVs there because Leebokgu was being very sloppy. That should never happen, but it happened. He used that hole there on the top corner where Leebokgu was trying to build a turret, but he denied the turret, which means this is the hole to go through. You could, of course, also fly around. That's also a valid option. But no, well, he he had two options basically, fly around, but that's a lot of time spent, or fly in through the front door right there. There's a huge hole there, he'll unload more Zealots, and mostly just Zealots there inside of Leebokgu's base. Leebokgu's now stimming his Marines up to try and protect his turrets, because losing turrets there would make those drops from Bob a lot easier to fly in. He's running for the SCVs there. He's going to try to disrupt some of the mining, I think, or maybe he's just scouting, getting information on what is present here in the back. Well, a lot of starports here for Bob. He's got the fleet beacon there as well. He can afford to go for carriers in this situation because he killed the workers from Leebokgu, which confines Leebokgu into his base. Leebokgu cannot attack because he will be facing too many ground gateway units there from Bob to even be able to reproduce his units quick enough. More drops coming in. It's mostly just Zealots once again, no Templars in there. Mostly just there to disrupt and distract while buying time for the Templars to finish and fly in. Because a drop always means that the Terran has to pull their workers off the minerals, even if there's no storm in there. Because as a Terran, of course, you don't know if there is a storm or not. So the risk is not worth taking. But Leebokgu is recovering slowly but surely, and Bob, for some reason, is not making more probes. He's staying on only 54 probes. He has a small base. He has a lot of access minerals. But he's doing what he has to do, and that is throwing out storm drops and disrupting the Terran's progression into the next stage of tech and mass. Templars this time around in the mix, but he misses most of the storm. No, he hits the second storm there, so once again kills about 25 units, I think. 25 SCVs went down. The Marines couldn't snipe the shuttles, which is of course pretty hard if the reaction time is not that big, because he doesn't have vision past the hill. Makes it a little bit harder to snipe him. If he had vision on top of the hill, it would be a little bit easier to snipe those shuttles because he'd have more reaction time. Anyway, carriers are now on the way for Bob. He's got interceptor capacity upgrade on the way as well, and air and armor upgrades. Well, armor upgrades for ground units, and air upgrade, weapon upgrade for his air units. Reavers, of course, they're being made as well. He's going to fly in some Reavers for the next drop attempt. Maybe get something done on the sides, maybe get something done on the bottom side, maybe get something done on the command center. He's got, well, about 3 options, I think, realistically speaking. One option is just killing random units. You can kill random units pretty much anywhere in Leebokgu's base, and killing any amount of random units is always beneficial, but he comes in there with a drop. He's trying to snipe, so he snipes one shuttle, and no more units are... Ooh, the shuttle with the Templars could not unload. I saw a shuttle with 3 Templars in there, and it went down before the 3 Templars could unload. That's huge save there for Leebokgu, because Leebokgu would not have... It wouldn't have boded well for him to have his SCVs stormed again while on such a low amount of minerals. It would definitely spell the end of the game, and a win for Bob. Carrier has finished. More carriers are finishing very soon, and it looks like Bob is finally changing direction, flying all the way around, but he flies into a dropship. He doesn't get spotted out. He does not get spotted out. Leebokgu wasn't looking, and now the drop's coming. He sees the drop there, though, and he's unloading on the depot. He's going to try to kill depots to get Leebokgu's supply stack. But there's tanks here, and the tanks are firing on the Reaver. The Scarab cannot get in between. Oh, right, he's flying it. Ooh, he was trying to fly it in, but he couldn't get in there. I wonder if Leebokgu is going for lockdown. He knows he cannot make an anti-air Wraith or Valkyrie mask quick enough, so he's going for Ghosts with lockdown to try and stop those carriers from being effective. Still only on 54 probes for Bob. The very low, usually I would say the very low probe count is hurting him, but he has a lot of overmine, which means he's not spending his money optimally. Which is very beneficial for Leebokgu, because a player like 458 would, in this situation for example, have already ended the game, because he would have about 75 probes, a bigger base, and more frequent attacking. More robos for, of course, more frequent shuttle spawning, the Reavers as well. He would be exploiting all the weaknesses Leebokgu at the moment has, which are quite numerous, because he can drop you in the corner, he can drop you on the bottom and kill a lot of stuff. He can even try to just fly straight through for the SCVs and get SCV storm kills. He has a lot of options, basically. The carriers are finished, but it's only 4 carriers. A couple more of them are on the way right there, and he's got these queued up there as well. He's got 1 storm drop there. It's empty, though. Usually you fill that one up with Templars and fly it under the cover of interceptors, which makes it very hard for the Terran to spot the shuttle if they're distracted just a tiny bit. It's a Reaver shuttle this time, though. He kills a couple of turrets, but because it's only 4 carriers, well 5 carriers and a couple of marines, the interceptors simply go down too quick. And I don't think he has air armor upgrade yet. Yeah, no air armor upgrade. He doesn't have it on the way either. He only has shields and weapons for air on the way. He's getting another cyber core here though for armor. But Leebokgu feels comfortable enough after he's rebuilt his SCV count to 61 and is pretty much almost maxed out. He decides to be the aggressor and go for the attack here on Bob. Does he have his ghosts yet? I don't see ghosts yet. He can't afford them, but he doesn't make them yet. He does have lockdown though. I really want to see the lockdown. Dark Templar comes in undetected. No, wait, the turrets past the wall, detected. The carriers will probably not clean this out because these turrets here, even though this marine count isn't very high, and you would say the carriers will definitely kill those marines, the problem lies in all these turrets here next to the hill that can fire on the interceptors from afar like this, and it makes those interceptors significantly weaker because they kind of go down, and which puts Bob into a position where he's constantly rebuilding his interceptors instead of using them to kill stuff. And this is greatly helping out Leebokgu with his push. So Bob has to keep his carriers on this side, where the interceptors will not get within range of these turrets. Also, ground forces are being picked off by these tanks here past the hill, making it very hard for Bob to fight with a ground force. Ghosts are now on the way, a huge amount of them. He didn't get Ghost Energy upgrade though, otherwise they would start on 62 energy, but they start on 50 energy. He's trying to kill these turrets here on the side now again, because he knows those turrets are being a thorn in his side. And he wants to fly a drop-in as well, but he can't fly the drop-in at the moment because he's being distracted here in the front. Ghosts are coming in, but of course still no lockdown energy, but we're going to keep an eye on that one. So once the ghosts have 100 energy, we're going to be seeing some exciting lockdowns on the carriers, always fun to behold. There's some pretty good upgrades there though, but wall level 1 weapon and 0 shield for Leebokgu, plus 111 for Bob on the gateway units, and plus 1-2 on the air. 1 shield, 2 weapon. Storm comes down, but it misses most of the marines, but at least he clears out some of the stuff there in the front. It at least buys him more time. A lot of turrets being built here as well as anti-interceptor countermeasure. Cannons here have killed those turrets there as well with vision past the hill. Smart move there from Bob, but Bob is in a pretty nasty situation. He needs more carriers. He's got 12 of them here at the moment, 1 more there on the side. There's a total of 14 carriers. Got 1 Arbiter as well, Dark Archon. And a couple of wasted units are on the middle that he should replace so he can build 2 more carriers. This amounts to about 2 carriers in total. Ghost trying to go in for the lockdown, but the carriers are flying away. He's killing all the stuff here on the side. He gets a lockdown down on that carrier and is now stuck there. Carriers are still trying to clear up all these turrets, but there's a lot of marines behind the turrets with level 2 weapon upgrade. And as you can see, those interceptors go down very quick, but a drop there comes in from Bob. Will Bob make it in all the way? It flies in all the way. The Reaver's going to unload there on the ground, but SCVs are running away just in time. And the Scarab is not going to connect, and the Reaver goes down. Doesn't get any kills whatsoever because the Scarab cannot get through. But it looks like even though the game started out really well for Bob, Bob is really falling short here. He's really having a hard time fighting back against Leebokgu, whose situation was looking so bad so often in this match. But the carriers being locked down, the massive marines they're taking out interceptors. Really, the interceptors are completely useless because he has so many marines and turrets here to assist in killing interceptors. Realistically, I would say Bob should just sit back, rebuild his interceptors, and then once he has all the interceptors, he should go back in. But he's overshooting his luck here, and a lot of ghosts coming in there with the lockdown. Now 3 carriers in total locked down. There's nothing there to kill the carriers there though. And his push isn't progressing that well. It's mostly making ghosts. He doesn't have a lot of gas. He only has 5 factories, 1 starport. So he's doing this on mostly barrack units. That's also why he has level 2 weapon upgrade on the marines. He's got level 3 weapon on the way, almost finished. Level 1 armor is also being in the queue. He's got no tank upgrades there, though, being researched. He does have level 2 weapon, but no armor and no level 3 weapon are being researched. And 6 lockdowns there in total. 1 more carrier goes down. He's getting Corsairs, I think, to help fly his shuttles in, because the storm drop is pretty much his only last chance. He gets a huge storm off on a lot of ghosts there, but more ghosts are there in the back. They don't have energy. He's killing the carriers now with the marines. Still 4 more carriers stuck in stasis. He's going to try to fly a drop in, I'm sure, but he just has nothing to put into the dropship. And this is when the build order from Bob is really backfiring. He's only on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gateways. And he only has 5, 6 starports left. Stargates left. So remassing and reproducing his mass is very difficult for Bob. More ghosts here. I really like those ghosts. Almost at 100 energy. He still didn't get the energy upgrade there though. He's having some gas problems. He's always low on gas, but because he is so heavy on marines and, well, ghosts, he doesn't need all that much gas. Ghosts, though, are very expensive. That I do have to say. But the factory count, the factory to tank demand is not that high because he only has 5 gateways. He doesn't need that much gas. Another, ooh, double lockdown there. Once again, triple. Still gonna be a number 4. He's looking for number 4, but he can't find it. SVs are going to sacrifice their lives to open up more supply space, but he honestly doesn't need more supply space. Yeah, this is kind of a letdown on Bob's end, because he started out really well with a really bad build order. Surprisingly, a bad build order worked out really well, but I think that's more so because Leebokgu put his marines into a blockade, where they ended up dying. Great Reaver shots there coming down though on the marines. Marines are extremely weak against Reavers. But another mass wave of ghosts and marines comes in from his base and enters Bob's base, and those carriers there are still stuck in lockdown. One of the Reavers there is stuck in lockdown as well. The carriers are still pretty healthy, lost most of their shields though, but not posing much of a threat, although he is keeping Leebokgu at bay here quite well, and this might go on for a little while longer. Because for some reason Leebokgu doesn't have a lot of tanks to push. He's mostly got very squishy units that melt in the face of Reavers. The state lockdown on the Arbiter there though is huge, because now he no longer has to rely on his vessel or on scans. Great disruptor web there comes down on the tank that will make the life of the Reaver there in the back much easier. It's going to roll forward very slowly, kill stuff. The carriers are jumping back and forth, but once again, as I mentioned before, interceptors are simply too weak against what they're facing. I really like this lineup of turrets there from Leebokgu. And yeah, more carrier lockdowns. More lockdowns. The ghosts are the MVP in this match, and they're really helping Leebokgu out with a very small mass, but a very effective mass. Although now a lot of marines are here, and all the interceptors have in fact gone down. Another disruption web there. He's trying his hardest to stop and slow down this push. A lot of Templars and Zealots have spawned there in the back. It's going to go in. A lot of Storms here would clear out this match from Leebokgu. The Storms are pretty on point, but he doesn't get enough done. Yeah, all the Templars have gone down, Zealots have gone down, and the carriers are dangerously close to dying as well. The lockdowns there are doing a lot of work, and now he's switching over to mostly Marines because he just wants to get through this base from his opponent. He just wants to get through. He just wants to push through, and he doesn't need ghosts for that because he knows that the carrier count is too low to fight back. 4 carriers, he's mostly relying on Zealots, but he's got so few gateways he can't really make anything. So very slowly inching forward, closer and closer to victory, Leebokgu is. So has 2 ghosts there for 2 more lockdowns, and those 2 lockdowns might just spell the end of the game. Yeah, he decided. I think this is definitely already over. And honestly, when this game was at like 10 minutes in, I wanted to say that Leebokgu is going to die very soon, but Bob looks like he doesn't have what it takes to win with the Protoss against Leebokgu. A little disappointed in Bob. I had really high hopes for him when that game started. Like, I was expecting more from him, but Leebokgu played this one really well. I cannot understate this well enough, or hard enough, or claim this often enough. Leebokgu played this one really well. He played this one really well, even though he had one huge slip-up with a Templar Storm. Well, 2 of them actually. One of them was, well, negligence, and the other one was simply good storms. But he comes out on top nonetheless. So score is 1-0. We have a game number 2, so we're going to move over to game number 2. don't have much more to say about this one in particular, so game number 2 it will be. Game number 2, we're getting a little bit of a race mix-up. We have Bob, also known as DKSWLA, on the Terran, and he's actually on the exact same spot as last game. And the Maximum is also on the exact same spot, and he's playing the purple Zerg. So we've got a Terran versus Zerg on our hands. Speed of the first 2 minutes, because nothing that we're going to be seeing here in the first 2 minutes should be far out of the ordinary. Although we might never know with DKSWLA, he might be doing something out of the ordinary, but it's hard to predict beforehand. He did go for a depot into a barrack instead of a barrack into a depot, and a second depot there as well, getting a very quick refinery there for very quick gas. And he finds his opponent's base here pretty much instantly, right below him. Which also should mean that Leebokgu knows that his opponent is really, really close. Pool has finished, Zerglings are on the way, and the choke there in the front, the hatchery there in the front, almost finished up. The drone is fighting the SCV, but he's never going to win the fight. He's getting some pretty good SCV blocking though there, so the Sunken is not going to come down, which means Marines are now on the way. They're going to try to join the fight there with the SV and support the SV in stopping this choke from happening. But Zerglings have spawned there. He's got a total of 4 Zerglings on the way. And Bob seems to be aware that Zerglings are on the way. Of course, you can predict that kind of, because Zerglings are a standard option there, a standard go-to for the Zerg, because the Zerg needs that bit of security from the Zerglings. So he kept his Marines there in his base, he's balling them up, so they're stronger than the Zerglings in a fight. And already has a factory on the way there. Already has a factory on the way at not even 3 minutes. He started about 240. An extremely fast factory. Also has Stimmer right now on the way after he started this factory. Firebat there has finished. One Sunken is there in the front. Not yet finished, but soon will be. And the lair is on the way here as well for Leebokgu. He's lifting up the barracks though. He's making a second factory. This is very risky here, because if Leebokgu notices this, if he notices, he can go for a potential mass Zergling and a Zergling speed punish. But he has Zerglings here first. He's making a lot of Zerglings at the same time. He's actually already going for the punish. Even though he never scouted, he's already going for the punish. He's up to something cheesy. He knows he's got to... Ooh, this is a great gamble here from Leebokgu. Already has the Hylas Den there on the way. But the gamble might also backfire, because these barracks is now flying over the hill are gonna get some shit done. So he can make a lot of Firebats here and just stim them into that mineral line, and there's nothing there to protect the minerals, because all the Zerglings are here. He made no Sunkens at the main. He goes in, he's gonna see the Zerglings. He has a bunker there with a Firebat in it there in the back. He has no factory units yet. He made 3 new barracks. Some of them are still on the way. He's getting in there. He's getting a right surround on the SVs there in the back. He's going to kill a lot of SVs there, but Firebats are being built here at the same time in the back in his own base. And now we're going to juggle back and forth. Firebats are going in. Bob is losing a lot of workers, but Leebokgu is in danger of losing his drones there as well. He's running away with his drones. He's going to keep them alive, but now he has nothing here to defend, so the Firebats are going to keep firing on the lair. And it looks like he defended his main base here at the same time as well by making a couple more Firebats. And Firebats are absolutely amazing against Zerglings. Now he's putting back his Zerglings to kill the Firebats that are in his base, because he's got to save his economy, because he needs to get the money and the gas to build that lurker aspect upgrade. And he needs to do more of those lurkers as well. He gets his round on Firebats. Firebats go down, but more Firebats are being made there in the top side, the corner, because now Bob has minerals once again, so he can afford to build more Firebats. But Leebokgu gets his round on the barracks, which probably means the Firebats are not going to spawn. Well, he spawns. He's going to run for it. He's going to run straight for the drones. Leebokgu, pull your drones. No! That was close. Look at them drones. Well, he needed 2 more hits, really. Maybe 1 more hit with the stim upgrade. I think that would have done it. He doesn't get the kill there though. Drones are staying alive, and Bob's also recovering his own worker count pretty steadily. And the Zerglings are now on the way to once again get a surround on these Marines here from Bob. But Bob gets a pretty good stim there, and the Firebats there as well. Medics, of course, supporting the Firebats and the medics, the Marines. And they stay alive, and the Zerglings pull back into the middle because Leebokgu wants to preserve them. Also now making more Sunkens there in his choke, because he knows that those units can very easily run over that one single Sunken. The Zerglings are trying to buy time for those Sunkens to finish and keep Bob away. Bob is flying the barracks back into Leebokgu's base. He doesn't want to give Leebokgu the time to breathe. He just gotta do the exact same maneuver again. fight here on the middle. Gets a cup. No, he doesn't get anything done whatsoever. Now he's just going to try to stay safe here along with those Sunkens. But the Firebats in the top corner are going to spawn and run back into the fight. He does have a couple of Hydralisks there though, but he's not seeing them. Oh, he's running them away. He finds it, he sees it, but the Firebat there is too tanky. Still alive, doesn't get another shot up, but more Firebats entering the fray. And this one's also not going to get on top of the drones. Very close call there for both players. But Leebokgu comes out just on top. He does lose a lot of mining time there though, but he stays alive and he's got his lurkers finished up as well. And we don't have a scan upgrade there for Bob, and we don't have an engineering bay for Bob either. We don't have an engineering bay for Bob. That is huge. That is absolutely huge. If Leebokgu wanted to, he could now go in for the kill, but I think he's going to play this slow and steady, a little bit safe. He's going to push forward with the lurkers to very slowly get the... Oh, he gets caught out there with the lurkers, but he gets them burrowed up eventually. The Overlord there is going to go down, though. That's huge loss there for Leebokgu because now he's supply stuck. Almost supply stuck, because he just finished 2 more Overlords. He would have been supply stuck, but he isn't. And he's got a Queen's Nest now on the way as well, somewhere right there. There's the Queen's Nest. We've got an Engineering Bay there on the way for Bob. Leebokgu is finally pushing. He should have been pushing all along, but of course he cannot know that Bob does not have an Engineering Bay. He doesn't know, and it's always safe to assume that in a Zerg versus turn, your opponent has an Engineering Bay. He didn't, but Leebokgu was of course assuming that he did. So he's mostly keeping his lurkers here just to keep Bob contained in his base. Engineering Bay is finished. He's got a science facility as well, so he'll have detection. But he's going for a dropship first because he wants to once again fly, I think, Firebats into that mineral line here from Leebokgu. And Leebokgu will then, of course, maybe lose his drones. He does have that lurker there in the back still, so we can just burrow that one up and kill the Firebats. But there's a scan. No scan. Because he doesn't have the second command center. Factor number 2 there coming out for Bob. He's very slowly progressing into every single option of his Tech 3. Loads up the Marines and the Firebats and a single medic into that dropship. He's going to fly over. There's a single lurker here as well, but the lurker is honestly too far away because this is the lurker range, and Bob's going to unload right here on top of the Marines. He's unloading the Firebats and the Marines. The drones are running away, but he's going to get chased by the Firebats. The Firebats are going to try to get on top of those drones, but no, he's not getting on top of the drones. One of the Firebats goes down, but the other Firebat there is arriving on the scene, gets 1 kill. Is still alive, gets a couple of kills, gets 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13 drone kills there for that heroic Firebat. And Bob finally gets some amazing results. He's going to have to cancel a couple of his hatcheries. He still has a couple of Marines and Firebats here. He picked them up. He didn't lose them, he picked them up. What the Mat Lad. Look at this Firebat. Pretty much no HP. 1 HP on the Firebat. He cannot go in though because there's 3 lurkers here. He's trying to go. The lurkers are unburrowing. Ooh, he gets 1 more drone kill and he pulls back out. Very quick response there from Bob. And Bob's having an amazing game this time around because the plays are working out for a change. Hive there is finished though for Leebokgu. And Leebokgu is now back on 33 drones. We've got Bob there making a vessel. I don't know if he got radiate, but we have some Scorches there on the way for Leebokgu, who's trying to defend himself against these units very slowly. Harassing him there on the side, moving his lurkers up now to finally put an end to this torture, and he ends it, but it did cost him a lot of time and a lot of minerals. Command center finished, scan is on the way, and an armory there as well for Valkyries and Goliaths, and of course for upgrades too. He's very slowly getting more units, and he's going to have to start and employ a pusher in the front very soon if he wants to make some progress, and in fact he is going to start a push there in the front. I had a feeling he was going for it because he had a lot of units, a lot of tanks, but most importantly he had that vessel, so you can detect lurkers with the vessel and maybe even extend the vision range of those tanks to hit more Sunkens further in the back. But we have the Filer's mount finished for Leebokgu. He doesn't have the Filer yet. Has got some lurkers there though, but we're going to be seeing lurker swarm very soon. You're also getting Zerging attack speed, so he's going for a ground force attack. Tanks very slowly leapfrogging forward, slowly but surely. Tank there as well, ready to go in with a Firebat and a dropship with a tank and a Firebat. He kills it, but the tank unloads! The tank is gonna get kills. Gets a shot off, kills 1 drone. Will it kill number 2? It kills 3. Doesn't get another shot off, so 3 drones there, and a little bit of disrupted mining time. Vessel tries to go in for the radiate. It's not getting in there though, because there's scorches there, but he gets on top. He gotta get there, and he gets a radiate off, but he has burrow upgrade. He does lose 2 drones there to the radiate, and another vessel there hanging in the front radiates the lurker. The lurker's gonna go down there, so the Dark Swarm on the lurker wouldn't achieve much. And Leebokgu is now in a very tough spot. Even though he has more workers, he's got a smaller mass and less to work with. He's got almost no gas either. It's a very tough situation here for Leebokgu. More units and marines and tanks are coming in through the front. He's going to try to snipe the vessel there. He gets the vessel in fact. But the lurker there in the front has gone down to radiate. And it looks like Leebokgu missed the radiate, so he was assuming that the lurker was still there, but the lurker ended up dying, and now he's going to be forced to pull back. Going to have to get another radiate. Ooh, he burrows the fighter just before the marines can get on top and kill it. Pushing through the front here with his marines and his tanks, killing everything. A Dark Swarm comes down there just in time though, and he gets a couple of lurkers under it, but there's a wide open hole for Bob to walk through and advance into Leebokgu's base, and he's going to attack him from the front side here. Leebokgu's going to have to scramble and relocate his Dark Swarm to here before the tanks siege up, before they can kill the lurkers. He's going to get in there, he gets in there, and he burrows a single lurker just in time, and a single lurker might just save the day. But now there's a lot of Dark Swarms here for Bob to stand under. He's going to try to kill as much as he can. He's going to target firing on a lot of stuff. He's moving in closer and deeper and deeper. He's ignoring the lurker swarms there. He's moving away from the lurkers. He's going to try to set up shop here, out of the range of the lurkers, but the tanks are getting stuck. The lurkers are now relocating closer to the tanks once again. A lot of lurkers are spawning there as well. Marines are getting on top of. Vessel comes in there from the top side as well for detection. There's a lurker there that's very tricky there, very deceptive, but he ends up killing pretty much everything there is. But the vessel there is on top of the hive, waiting for the radiate. Waiting, but oh, the scorch is taken down just before it can radiate. And Leebokgu repels that attack from Bob quite inventively. It was very quick responding, very smart placement from his lurkers, relocating very quickly, quick reactions. Very difficult to hold that one. That could have gone wrong for Leebokgu very easily, very quickly. But he managed to hold on because the lurkers were positioned in really good places, particularly this one. This one prevented Bob from getting close to the drones with anything whatsoever, and it kept his income safe because I am 100% sure Bob was trying to get his tanks in here and set up here to kill those drones here. If he killed those drones there on the minerals, he would have won this game with 1 tank shot, maybe 2 tank shots, and the game would have been over for Leebokgu because he would once again be scrambling to recover his income. Gets a great radiate off there on the defiler, so no more Dark Swarms coming out from that one. Gets another radiate down on another defiler, so 2 defilers are going down to the radiate. He gets a Dark Swarm off just in time before it dies. And now Bob is on the opposite end. He's scrambling to build a bigger base as fast as he can, but he only has 53 SCVs there. His gas is a little bit low, even though he's mining from 9 of them. But he will be able to get a lot of facts, a lot of starports very quick. But his production ability is not at the maximum, because he doesn't have as many SCVs as he should need. He needs about 65 or 63 as a Terran to keep Terran versus Zerg mech production up and running. Dark Swarm in the end is going to get, I think it just got replenished. Tanks siege up there in the front. Vessels are hunting for defilers to stop more Dark Swarms. Gets the defiler, but there's 2 more defilers there in the back. He's going to go for the drones now, or maybe for the defilers they're hanging in the back. He's going to go for the drones, I think. Gets the radiate off all the drones. The drones burrow just in time, so only 1 drone once again goes down. Sports are on the side. Leebokgu is turtling up. Because honestly, I think he has 2 choices. Either go for a very low economy counter attack, which he can pull off right here, right now, because he has the defilers, has the lurkers, has the zerglings. He can get his lurkers burrowed up next to the tanks with the Dark Swarm. But he wants to get bigger. He wants to play it safe. Under the assumption, of course, that if he is to move out, he will lose the game. But he, in fact, is stronger than he appears. Dropships are moving back and forth. They're going to put some tanks there up on the hill. He wanted to go for a drop, but well, there's too many spores in between. So the hill is the second best option. And the hill is very difficult for Leebokgu to find into. But Leebokgu is getting richer and richer, bigger and bigger. The spores here and the hatches, though, are going to go down to the tanks if he doesn't clear them out fast enough. Making more reload chambers from more upgrades is replacing, well, is upgrading his Greater Spire. Making it Guardians. He's got a lot of gas. He's setting up shop there against the hill because he found out that he can walk in there, but the Zerglings are getting on top of the tanks there. Tanks are going to go down. And a couple of Zerg is also going to clear out these units here in the front. Units are moving a little bit too close to those lurkers. Tanks are up on the hill are being an absolute annoyance. Vessels coming in, they're going to fly over this portion here. Maybe go for the drones, maybe go for the fighters. Two options, the fighters or drones. Gets a raid down onto the fighter. Now he's going to go for those drones there in the back. Gets a drone radiate off. The drones are going to die because Leebokgu is so close. So close, so close. A lot of almost dead drones there. He keeps them alive very, very closely. So Bob is going to get more tanks up on the hill. Some Goliaths there as well. Maybe he's going to put them on the low ground, make it hard for Leebokgu to focus on two different fronts, because now Leebokgu has to focus on the frontal attack and the side attack, both happening here at the same time. Tanks are rolling up closer. He's going to go for the drones. He kills 20. He kills the other side as well. He kills a total of about 45 drones there from Leebokgu. And that's the last thing Leebokgu wanted to happen. But Leebokgu was so distracted because he has to focus on two separate locations there at the same time. And it's proven to be too much because he's also getting his Dark Swarm up a little bit just in time. Just in time, he lost one lurker there in the front, and the tanks are moving to the top side of Leebokgu's base. And the tanks there are still alive, still killing stuff. And now he has a lot of units there inside of Leebokgu's base, and if only Leebokgu had kept his drones there alive, he would have been fine. But now he is staring down the barrel of certain death. This game is 100% over. He doesn't have the minerals to pretty much produce what he needs. He needs lurkers, dark swarms, and potentially even Guardians, but there's a lot of Goliaths there as well. Another vessel gets irradiated off on the drones, and this time around the drones are gonna die. Well, he kills a single one. It's still something. It's not a lot though. Not a lot. And more tanks are setting up shop in his base. He's getting a surround on the entire base of Leebokgu, and Bob here pulling off a pretty strong and solid Terran versus Zerg. And Leebokgu with some small mistakes, with mostly the inability to be aware of everything happening at the same time, which I will admit is extremely difficult to do. When you're being attacked non-stop and you have to progress your attack, your base, your build order, you have to produce units, you have to fight up the mark, you have to use spells, it's very hard to be aware of everything going on at the same time. Yeah, he's just going to call the GG very soon. He calls the GG, he knows he's lost, and scores 1-1, and Bob wins game number 2. With a pretty small base, in my opinion, but he managed to preserve most of his units by not being too greedy and by having some pretty good vessel use. He didn't just go for the drones with his vessels, but he also went for the defilers. And that is one of the key points that I often see a lot of players make a mistake with their vessel use. Instead of going for the defilers to make it really hard for the Zerg to continuously get Dark Swarms up in their front, they also mix it up by going for the drones a couple of times, but not always. First they take out the defilers and then they go for the drones, instead of first going for the drones and having the defilers with the Dark Swarm and the Zerglings and the lurkers kill all their tanks and hold the front. Very smart mix-up there from Bob. Even though he's bad at building a base, it's very slow, he doesn't have a lot of buildings. His economy is really small as well, only 59 SCVs, but he has really good use of his units. He's smart. He plays smart. And smart play makes up for 10,000 factories, or 10,000 starports, or stargates. Smart play triumphs. And that's what we saw here. Smart and accurate playstyle. So time for game number 3. The deciding game in this series. Who's going to win? Will Leebokgu or Bob? Also known as DKSWLA. And with their races picked, they picked their races of course. We have Leebokgu on the Protoss, his best race by a mile. And Bob here on the Zerg on the top corner as the purple Zerg. And this is going to be interesting. Because I will admit, Bob is at a very low probability of winning this against Leebokgu's Protoss. Very low chance. Unless he cheeses or something, but he's already getting a hatchery up there in the front, so no cheese is going to be Very quick 2 gateways and a gas there coming in from Leebokgu, so we're going to be seeing very quick gas tech progression from Leebokgu, very early Cybercore probably. Bob has a hatcher there in the front, pool is on the way, hatcher number 2 there and the main as well. Cybercore there up and running for Leebokgu, is making 2 zealots there as well. And this Overlord is on the way to find Leebokgu's base. This probe here is only scouting chokes because he knows he's against a Zerg, so he's scouting only chokes because the probability of a choke is very high and the probability of no choke is very low. Also, I just noticed this is a mistake on the map maker. This should be like this. It should be like this. This half should be pasted right here, but he pasted the wrong texture onto the map, which is really triggering me. Here we have the same thing, sort of. Not entirely, but sort of. Wrong texture being used there. I'm just nitpicking the map at this point. This is the map Poker Face. So probe there arrives in the front. Sunken there is on the way, but it's still a creep colony. A couple of zealots, Zerglings there are ready to face that zealot. The zealot is gonna not achieve much. He's flying into the base with that Overlord, and he sees that there's 2 gateways, no +1 nexus, and there's a robo facility already there on the way. There's no choke either. So I really hope that Bob has something up his sleeve. Zerglings there getting into the middle. The Zealot is trying to micro his way out of there, but he does die after killing 2 Zerglings, but the Zerglings come out on top, and now there's more Zealots there as well. And the Zerglings are just going to run past, and maybe try to skedoodle into Leebokgu's base, but Bob, I don't think you're going to get in there. Yeah, he decides, he goes in. He's going to go for it. He gets in, 1 more Zergling goes down, the other 2 make it in alive, and they will arrive here on top of those probes before the Zealots can. More Zealots are spawning now, just though the timing is absolutely impeccable. He gets 1 probe kill, he's going to try to get a second one, but first he has to run away and micro and dance his way around. The choke here in the front though is completely neglected, which is a huge mistake from Bob, because Bob knows that Leebokgu has a lot of Zealots and he can just walk through. This is an absolutely monumental mistake from Bob. He's got a Sunken there being made in the back though, but it's gonna be too late. Those Zealots can kill that Sunken, and he's got supply stick as well because the Overlord is still on the way, so he can make no Zerglings either. This is disastrous. He does get... Wait, is it gonna work? No, he's gonna kill that Sunken for sure. Although drones are blocking that one Zealot, the Zealot here goes down just before the Sunken dies, and the Overlord finishes. And the Zerglings are now on the way. But he's losing drones already. Which is an absolute big no-no for the Zerg. So we already have the Reaver here on the way for Leebokgu. 2 Reavers, 1 shuttle. A very, very fast double robotics build order from Leebokgu. Now adding on 2 more gateways here as well. Still 1 more Zealot there, but it went down just now. He's got that Hydas then there on the way too. He's only on 15 drones because I think he lost about 3 drones there, maybe 4 drones to 2 Zealots there. That's absolutely disastrous. Also, losing mining time is massive. This game is looking very, very grim for our friend Bob. Bob is having a really bad time. The Hydas then is finished. Shuttle is on the way. Shuttle speed hasn't finished yet, so the shuttle will take some time before it arrives, and Hydas are already on the way, ready to be spawning. But will it be enough? It's going to be 1 shuttle against 2 Reavers. Zerglings are arriving here though, gonna try to snipe the Robo, but it is not enough, so it's gonna be just a distraction here. More Zealots are on the way there though, so once those Zealots spawn, those Zerglings are gonna be useless as they won't be able to do any real damage. The Zealots are there to protect. The Hydralists are spawning just in time. The Reavers unload, it's gonna get the Reaver micro there down on those Hydralists. And yeah, the micro here with the Reavers is gonna be enough to just end this game and end Bob's life. Bob has 4 more Hydralists there on the way, but his drones are in danger of dying. He gets a Reaver there on the lookout. Reaver shoots on 1 drone. Miraculously, only a single one goes down. Hydralists there shooting on the shuttle. The shuttle unloads the Reaver. What? That Hydralist should have gone down, but it's for some reason exploded a little bit too far away, and it did splash damage on the Hydralist instead of killing damage, which is very interesting. He's just clearing this out with the Reaver Shuttle micro. Another Reaver Shuttle is on the way. He gets a couple of drone kills there, kills 5. The Hydralists are trying to get stuff done, but the micro here from Leebokgu is simply too good. And now there's 3 Reavers here in the base, and those 3 Reavers finish him off. And that's the end of the series. Honestly, if Bob's just had a better build order or wall up his front with the sun instead of just having a huge hole for those zealots to walk through, I think he would have been fine. But losing mining time and getting slowed down with his Hydralisks was quite massive. Now, Leebokgu just had a great build order here. It looks kind of risky, but the Reaver Shuttle Micro is absolutely massive. And the Zealots, the 2 Zealots, even though it's only 2 Zealots, forced the Zerg into defending a little bit more if those Zealots hadn't been in the mix. But really interesting build order. I am really interested in this build order from Leebokgu, and Bob just didn't have what it takes. Yeah, thanks for watching. It was a really quick third game, only 6 minutes long, and Leebokgu comes out on top with 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 a turn versus Protoss, lost to Zerg versus turn, and 1 a Protoss versus Zerg. Bob simply didn't have the skill to do it.